And this is the January 2021 engineering key review. So we're covering development, quality, security, and UX metrics. Support and infra have their own key reviews. So that in the agenda, it looks as though Craig has the first question, number 5. Is Craig here?
Yeah, it was less of a question. Yeah, I'm here. Hello. It was less of a question. It was more just I wanted to congratulate the team on completing the SOC 2 Type 2 audit. I know how important that is for our business. So just wanted to give a shout out to the team. I saw that in the company Slack channel. So congrats.
Yeah, it was a big win by security department, the compliance sub department, Julia and all her team. And for context, about 90% of initial filings have findings in them, and ours came back entirely clean on the first shot. So it was really well executed, and obviously lots of prep and stuff went into it.
That's excellent.
And Jonathan, do you want to say more? Sid, or Sid, you can voice over your 5C.
Yeah, thanks so much. Like, congrats. It's really great. Very special that we didn't get any findings. It speaks to the work and the prep of our team. I wonder how we're going to communicate it. We're going to do a blog post. We're going to add some logos to the homepage, all these icons you see on other SaaS services at the bottom somewhere. What are the plans?
Yeah, so we have a press release going out on the 4th of February, which is, maybe 2 weeks. It'll be, we got connected with the external comms team and put something together real nice. And we're going to add a bunch of stuff. We're going to do some blogging on it. Obviously, it's a permanent piece of collateral for our external facing customer packages that our sales team has access to. We definitely have to play with that logo, right? A lot of companies like to put all those certification logos on their pages. Just got to find the right place for it, but we're definitely going to do that. So
cool. And I don't know the difference between SOC 2 and SOC 3, and there's even types, but SOC 3 feels better than SOC 2. So make sure that you add multiple logos as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, no, we can definitely do both. So, and we got both at the same time, which is also unusual, by the way. So I think it's really great to know that not only do we have a SOC 2, Type 2, no findings, first shot, but we also did the SOC 3 at the same time. And that is really uncommon. I mean, it's almost unheard of. Most companies will do the SOC 2 Type 1, the SOC 2 Type 2, then the SOC 3 another 6 or 12 months later.
And when your department and the rest said like, hey, we're just going to do everything at the same time. Just wait a little bit longer and we'll get everything. I was like, oh, against the iteration value. This is just, oh no, but I'm very glad I deferred to the DRIs, and this is great.
It's a big win for all of us. I honestly believe it's going to be a huge impact on our customers going forward. It's going to be a huge impact on SaaS, on our ability to sell SaaS, because that's basically what it's speaking to, is the controls around SaaS. So, which is what the SOC 3 is, right? It's all about cloud and infrastructure and that type of security. So it's a big win.
And how about internal communication? Like, I know you're speaking at SCO, the sales kickoff. And I'm sure there's salespeople that didn't see the Slack message in company FYI, and they're waiting for this. What are we going to do internally to make sure they're all empowered with the right information?
Yeah, I have a sales presentation tomorrow, as a matter of fact. So I've met with all of the regional directors in the US. All the regional directors, including outside the US, over the last week. I've shared with them the SOC 3 or the SOC 2. The SOC 2 is also part of the security assurance package. So they've all been advised of that. I have a presentation tomorrow, and we're presenting at SCO and the Slack message.
Cool.
Thank you.
I was going to make a Semver joke that the only thing about SOC 3 was that they deprecated for something from SOC 2, but of course that's not true. So
Yeah, the great thing about SOC 3 is it doesn't require NDA, right? So like it's just publicly available. So you can go to Amazon and find their SOC 3. You can go to whoever and find their SOC 3. Same here. Like customers can get it. People interested in GitLab that doesn't reach out to a sales team, just investigating or researching GitLab can find their SOC 3. It's all publicly available. The SOC 2, the reason it requires some sort of confidentiality agreement is because it has actual prescriptive internal controls of how we're like protecting ourselves. So you can see that there's some power there on how to formulate attacks against GitLab if it was in the wrong hands.
Cool. Well, congrats again to
Thank you.
and Julia and everybody on the team. Please pass that along. So Sid, you've got number 6.
Yeah, and this is more for the shadows. I think Christy followed the instructions to a T with the countdown. The problem is you can't really predict when the YouTube thing will go. So I made the wrong instructions. So maybe we should change it into public stream in about 5 seconds. Please start talking as soon as you see the icon in the top left corner in Zoom or something like that.
Where are the, maybe Christy, you could do an MR to where those instructions are located in the handbook?
Yeah, shadows, I'm happy to as well, just because the EBAs do this a lot. I know what page it's on.
If you could do it, Christy, that'd be better because you're an expert. You do this. Thanks for following the broken instructions. That helps us to improve them.
I love this, Sid. Thank you. I'm excited.
Thanks. I think at some point I requested a metric. I'm not sure I made it a key metric of number of people with access to the production database. I can't find it in the key metrics. We might have not made it a key metric, and Mac has answers.
Yes, just helping out here. We did capture this in an issue, and I believe he completed it. I believe Steve maybe can talk more on this regard.
I can, yes, and I'm just grabbing the link here to that. If you look here, we actually talked about this morning in the infrastructure key meeting. We have this production risk index, which is a way for us to not only report on the access to the Rails console, but also what we want to do is look at an overall perspective of many of these different access areas where we have risk. So Rails console, database access groups, access to our cloud service provider consoles, shell access, it goes on and on and on. And so right now we have a start of this. This is very much a minimum viable thing, and we're going to continue to iterate on it, both in adding new sources and then also in the weighting. And I commented this morning, like the weighting that we have right now on this is totally like back of a napkin. We just started with some general weighting. So.
Yeah, I think it's already pretty complex. So I'm not complaining about the MVC state or anything else. I just don't see in the definition how you measure it. There's an index, but it doesn't say how that index is calculated.
Yeah, that's a good. So I'll take an action item, and we'll I think we'll just add it right. I'm trying to think. We can add it within the dashboard in SizeSense, but it's probably better if we just add it right.
No,
onto
it should be in the handbook. It should be version controlled. Don't add stuff to SizeSense. There's no version control. It gets out of date.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. And I was thinking also that means you've got to do another click. You got to look somewhere else. So I'll add it right there directly in the handbook page where we have the embedded chart.
Cool. Is it so simple that you can verbalize it right now? Like, how should I think about the 3?
I'd have to remember what it is, but let me see if I go to the issue, if I have it in there right now. Oh, here it is. So for right now, we have 4 items in there. We have root level system access. We have production database read-write access. We have Rails console and Kibana access. And for those, we just gave relative weighting for each one of them, with root access being 20, production database being 18, Rails being 14, and Kibana being 8. And again, those were just a starting point. And so we take each of those. And so if there are, 3 users, of course, there's more than 3, but 3 users with root access, each one of those is 20. That's a score of 60. add them all up across that, and then we divide by the number of team members in the company, because some of these things are company-wide. And so, like, for example, when we put some better access controls in front of, for example, Kibana, will drastically reduce that number, but it'll still be divided by the number of team members. So that's where our we'll see a good inflection point in that.
Thanks. I think that's a great way to kind of get to the overall risk. I think great. I supported the weighting, everything. It's great. In this graph, maybe we can add the 3 lines or something, or maybe I would like 1 line, the number of people with access to the red data or Rails, whatever you're measuring. But I would love that line as well. If you want to add the other line with Kibana access and stuff like that, that's fine. But I'm very worried about that, and I'd like to see the actual data, because I find it, although I agree the index is the right way to do that, I find it hard to reason. I want to see whether that red line went down.
Yeah. What do you think about the alternative to that of, so I'll create a dashboard that has not only the index chart there, but has some of the other source item charts? I guess.
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine too. And do it in SciSense. That's fine. It doesn't have to be on this page, as long as you can click into SciSense and see the other graphs. That's ample. Thank you. Thanks for that suggestion.
I'm just kind of curious, just worried about the sensitivity of some of that information. So if I put it in the dashboard, we can still get to it. Cool.
Great.
And Steve, no reason to apologize for the back of the napkin stuff. If it's minimum viable, that's something we celebrate. We don't have to apologize for minimum viable iterations. The first step to a car is the skateboard.
Yeah, and actually, you should apologize that you just didn't do a skateboard, because a simpler version would have been just the red data and just account. So you already did more than expected. But like we saw with the SOC compliance, sometimes it's a great thing to go for something bigger right out of the box. So it's all good.
In that case, I'm sorry for doing too much work. Thanks for the feedback. Yeah.
Welcome. Thanks, and thanks, I guess, Steve and Mac, that this data is there, and the follow-up on that suggestion was so good. Really appreciate it.
Do we think of this as this should be like, we're talking about an infrastructure thing in the engineering key review, which is everything but infrastructure and support. This is a security thing. Should it be in the security family of KPIs? Should it be at my level because it's that important? Where do we want to place this?
I think, at least from my perspective, and I think at least for now, I'm happy to have it in infrastructure. I mean, if anyone has a strong opinion elsewhere, I'm happy to move it too, but I'm fine for being in infrastructure, at least for now.
I feel like it's an infrastructure because you own the access, and if you're going to prevent, say, like let's say you said, well, I want to pull out more of development, or even I think I'm hoping we're down to like 2 or 3. But we said we were going to go down on that. You'd be the owner of that, so it feels like it's still an infrastructure metric.
Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, we are the control owner, so I guess, yeah, that's a really good point, Christopher.
I mean, if you want on your page, Eric, that's your prerogative, because you say that's the elevation of visibility you want, but like that's like I don't.
If infra is the right place, that's fine. It's just we have a separate infra key review, and it keeps leaking out into here as well as support metrics. So I kind of want to roll forward on that and go back to my idea of like, we're kind of at the level where all 6 of my departments could have their own key review, versus trying to lump one in here, and we keep crossing wires and stuff. So I'll take that offline and figure out if we can't, like security's got a lot of important stuff. We could spend 30 minutes on that every month or 8 weeks or something like that. And that might be a better solution to it. So I'll propose something. Luckily, we always run under time here, so I don't mind spending the time on something important, even if it's outside the charter of this meeting. That's okay. So then 8, Sid.
Yeah, I think I saw in the MRs that the SUS score went up, but it shows down in SciSense, so I probably mislooked. Christy?
I think it's because your heart wants what I want, which is for it to go up. So, no, unfortunately not yet. We are right now running the Q4 survey, so we don't know what our Q4 number is yet, but we should have that within the next couple of weeks before the new quarter starts. So that'll tell us a little bit more, and that'll also give us an indication of what our Q1 OKR should be.
Oh, maybe I was looking at the legacy metric, the thing that's 33. Maybe that went up a little bit.
Oh, the NPS did go up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's my confusion. Thanks.
Yep.
Eric?
Yeah, it's small change, but the target is currently listed as 75, so it needs directionality, meaning above 75, because some charts do go down to the right, and that's okay. And then also it's unitless, and I think that's okay. Like, alpha in physics is unitless, that's okay. But it looks like we're just missing unit, because there's many other KPIs where we know we have to add units. So if we just call out no units, like it's explicit, then we know we're done. This is the right thing. So if you can make
I think the maximum score you can get is 100. Is that correct? So we can say 75 out of 100.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, yeah, that works.
Yeah, I can take care of both of those things. Thank you.
Thanks, Christy.
Yeah, and Christy, I think product just published the new NPS report. I think I haven't had a chance to look at it yet, but it was published, I think, today. So
yeah,
just so you're aware.
Thank you.
So Craig, you've got number 9.
Yeah, I just wanted to thank Mech for all the iterations on the bug metrics. It was a good example of just continually, going back, trying to make sure we got it measured right and iterating through the charts. I think we're finally there. I had no comments this time.
Can someone screen share what we're talking about?
Yeah.
Sorry, Greg. I think it's great that you're giving a compliment for this.
I'll share my screen since I'm driving. I think it's meantime remediation. Sorry, quality.
It's bugs P1, P2. Sorry, I did those two. Yep.
S1, S2. Got it.
Yeah, I really like how we switched the pivots. We got P1, P2 measured separately. I'm taking a second to load here, but I really it tells the story well, and it gives me a sense of how we're doing. So.
Yeah. What do you mean we switch to pivots?
If you remember, we were having the conversation about whether we should pivot it on bug open date versus bug close date. We landed on bug close date, which gives a much more accurate view of how we're doing in terms of getting stuff closed. So.
Yeah, this is great. Yeah, I love it, and the definition is right there, and I think it's the most actionable metric. So that's great.
Yep.
I want to say thank you, credit to the team, and we still, the team and my counterparts, the leaders as well. We have a lot of room to improve. I feel that you're all very generous because S2 is going up, and I'm getting thanks. So there's a lot of room to improve still, and we're taking this to our Q1 OKRs to improve with the counterparts. Thank you.
Yeah, you're getting the kudos for making the right graphs and the right measurements, and we know that we tend to get what we measure, so we trust that if the right measurement is in place, that over time we'll take the corrective action. So that's
so Mech and I discussed this yesterday in our one-on-one, and these are the overall graphs. We're going to focus on 2 specific teams, create and CI, essentially, to look at these and figure out how best to make sure we're driving this down and working with product to get the right prioritization. So we can focus on this.
So you're saying underneath that general trend for S2s, there's kind of 2 hotspots as opposed to
they're not hotspots. They're the first teams we're picking because they're the most impactful. We actually are doing group by group, and we felt like it's best to start with the most impactful groups, regardless of where they are. The other thing to note here is one thing we don't show is the open bugs. So that's one thing that we got to do a little more digging on the data just for full transparency. Because like, for instance, you could have a bug that just sits out and it doesn't ever get closed. So I think we may have to look at the calculation and update the definition a little bit and include things that are still open as well, just for completeness.
Yeah, or have like bugs open, bugs closed, bug on the right hand axis or something, and
yeah.
Or make a dashboard like Steve suggested.
And for context here, the areas that we discovered were also overlapping with the transient bugs affecting merge requests and pipeline. So those are the lining up. So that's about it.
So Mecca, a high class problem. What do we do with the S1 chart? Do we update the status from 2 attention to 3 okay and start, focusing attention on S2? Or do we say, no, the target should be changed to be more ambitious?
This is a spoiler alert, but Christopher and I were discussing of turning the S1 bucks from SLO to SLAs, so more stricter requirements, and we're gearing on that, to make it a more strict SLA.
Okay, cool.
So zooming out a little bit, we're probably one of the very few software companies at our scale that publishes their S2 closing time publicly. It's quite a sight, and I'm very proud of everyone being so comfortable having that data public and discussing this openly.
All right, does anyone have a number 10 on the agenda? It's currently blank. All right, well, thanks everybody.